By the way, email from Yellowstone Sticker Girl. She says today is the National Day of Prayer. Missed that one. And by the way, yesterday, this also pointed out, yesterday when I said I would have the things to look forward to in May today, that was National Honesty Day yesterday. And I told a lie. The first thing out of my mouth was a lie. Folks.
You didn't mean to lie.
Yeah, it's not like you lied on purpose.
That's
yes, like most of yours.
I believed it would be true. That's right. We have to update Biggie's days missed or days without missing since last illness in a moment. But I feel like the TV lied to me yesterday. I don't like a little trick they played on Inside Edition. And I marked it down. I marked it down.
It sounds like things senile people say.
I marked it.
The TV's playing tricks on me.
I marked it down. I wrote it. I was like, I'm talking about
Sounds like something that should be complained about in a neighborhood group on Facebook.
So I'm bringing this to the table. This is something that bothers me. Biggie's days without illness. We have the dry erase board. It doesn't lie. There's no tricks here. We're up to 14.
Yes,
14.
sir. Yes, sir.
I love it.
All right.
Clap it up.
I love it. Yeah, give it up for him. I'm looking for triple and even quadruple digits on this thing.
Yeah, never going to happen.
We are at 14 right now.
Even our boss stopped in yesterday and saw the board, and I said, Kelly wants quadruple digits, and he said, that ain't ever going to happen. And I said, thank you, you're on my side.
Who dared doubt you like that?
Which boss?
Which boss doubted you?
Ricky.
Oh, no, he ain't the boss, really.
He ain't the boss of me.
Come on now. Come on. I mean, you placate him a little bit, but he ain't the real boss. So I'm sitting there watching Inside Edition with my wife, and there's a charming story about a man who jumped into a lake in Florida to save a bald eagle.
I've heard a little bit about. I haven't even seen the video, but I've heard about it.
Okay. Well, here's how Inside Edition tricked me. I was watching. Now, first of all, I was drained after my long video shoot, so I was just like, ow. I could barely watch it.
Yeah.
So
Scarf down some salmon.
yeah, that's exactly what we had for dinner, and we didn't even have a green or a starch to go along with it. I said, just give me salmon dry. Let's just have it. Let's go.
What did the family eat?
My wife also had salmon.
Okay.
And then she had
The daughter.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. She went. She's like, I'm not eating this. Oh, and lately, listen to this. I have found a terrific recipe on Facebook. Now, it's not going to sound great at first, okay? 2 cans of chunk-like tuna, Star-Kissed, drained, all right? Diced up cucumbers, avocado, a little balsamic vinegar, and everything bagel seasoning. And you mix it all together. And it is delightful. Now, the smell that creates.
Horrendous. But I kind of like where you're at with that.
Okay, it's all protein. It's everything, and it's good for you. And I've been eating it a lot lately. And when my daughter came home from school a couple of days ago, the first time I made it, she said, What has died in here?
Did one of the guinea pigs die?
She raced to the cage. I said, no, that was my lunch.
No, it's my vinegar tuna.
Yeah. Vinegar tuna. I wish I had invented it, but I saw it on Facebook. I was like, all right, I'm trying this because I had everything that I needed right there for it. I had a cucumber. I had the balsamic vinegar. We had an avocado. I did it. Anyhow, where was I? Oh, going senile. So I'm watching Inside Edition. Just drained. Can barely hold my eyes open.
Burping up salmon.
Okay.
Fish burp.
That's right. And they do a story on this guy who lives in Florida, and he's got a large body of water back behind his property, and he sees 2 eagles get in a fight, and one of them gets the worst of it, in his words, and is in the water. And he said, I knew there were a couple of alligators in that water, so I needed to save that eagle. Her wing, she couldn't get out of the water. And you could see, and there was video, somebody, his wife, took video of him. He swam out to the eagle, grabbed it. Now, the eagle's fighting, of course, and he grabs it and swims it back to shore. And he said, now there's a couple of alligators, and I saw one circling, so I was concerned. As Biggie knows, any body of water in Florida is going to have an alligator.
Absolutely.
And it did. So they take an overview of a body of water that probably had 50 alligators swimming around and biting at each other. And I thought, my God, this man went into that water to save that eagle. I was just blown away. So I tell my wife as she comes back into the room, she also had some issues digestively with the salmon. And she came back into the room, and I said, take a look at what this guy did. Wait till you see the water he was in. I back it up. Well, the voiceover was, it didn't look anything like this body of water.
Yeah.
And they give an overview shot of just some other body of water with 100
gator farm.
And I was like, well, then don't put it in the piece, I mean, there was one, and the guy said, there's one gator, she's friendly, she's 7 foot.
I feed her.
Exactly. And he's like, but I knew she might go after that eagle, so I got it out of there. I was never in any danger. And I said, well, that's not it. I mean, that is cheating, because they took an overhead shot and said, now, it didn't look like this, which had a bunch of killer alligators in it.
I don't like that either.
I gave it double fingers. I was like, for us who are infirm and tired and sitting on our butts at home, we think that is the alligator that you were battling.
But they did get what they wanted, which is you and I'm sure a few others going, look, hold on.
Exactly.
Let me rewind it.
That's right. If I hadn't rewound it, I would have come in here today boasting about this guy that fought 100 gators to save this eagle.
Do we know the status of the eagle?
Yes. They told that at the end. He took it to the vet. The vet did surgery on its wing, and it is released into the wild. It's done. That happened a couple of weeks ago. And it is done that the eagle is fine. And the guy did save the eagle. I was very, very impressed. And he was like, no big deal.
Did he stop and take his shoes and socks off before he jumped in?
And his shirt. They showed him out there. He was just out there. Now, he had a lot of tattoos, and I was like, all right, I'm going to let it pass because you
I judge you.
So I'm going to judge you, but I like what you did.
Did a good thing.
You did a good thing, so I am for you. He had long gray ponytail and a bunch of tattoos, and I thought, of course, I would judge you normally, but in this situation, I'm really proud.
Yes, you'd cross the street if he was coming toward you.
Without a doubt.
Especially if he's holding an eagle, which was going crazy.
If you do that, do you get a new eagle tattoo? I think I would.
I'll bet he does.
Like an eagle on one arm, gator on the other?
Yeah, why wouldn't he? And I didn't see that gator, but apparently there was a gator swimming nearby. He's like, she's friendly.
What's the most common non-human creature on a tattoo? You think butterfly? Eagle?
Ooh, I bet butterfly.
More butterflies? Because women seem to really love butterflies.
Dog? People get their pet portraits.
Yeah, but I think I would bet there are more dolphins and butterflies.
Dolphins.
I bet you butterfly is the one I would go.
Well, it was a real craze there for a while too.
Yeah,
for a woman to get her lower back, tattooed with a butterfly, a dolphin.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Remember my friend who turned 50? We were having lunch, and she had just turned 50, and she goes, "You're not going to believe what I did for my 50th birthday. I got a tattoo." And of course, I thought, "Oh no,
check, please."
What did you get?
Well, I said,
you have to follow up.
She said, I'm going to show it to you when we get in the parking lot. You're never going to believe it. You will never believe what
the parking lot.
And I was like, what in public? What's going on? Yeah. I was okay. And she goes, you will never, ever believe what I got. And I thought, well, then it must not be a butterfly, because that's the first thing that jumped in my head. It's a butterfly. And when we got out to the parking lot, she pulled up the back of her hair, and it was on her neck. And it was a butterfly that had a message of hope in each wing. And there were 4 wings.
Okay.
And it was like peace, tranquility, strength, and that kind of thing. And I was like, you go, girl.
You're crazy. That's awesome.
I celebrated it with her that day. Here's what I have in common with Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood, and it dawned on me, I do have this in common with her. She always now, and she's just revealed this, every few weeks, she puts on outfits that she wore on American Idol when she was a contestant on American Idol 20 years ago for a quote-unquote fit check. She wants to make sure she can still fit in the clothes she wore 20 years ago, and that tells her whether or not she needs to lose weight, go to the gym more, whatever. And I realized I do that every day. I'm wearing 20-year-old shirts right now.
Yeah, fit check.
But you're not doing it to check your weight.
No.
You're doing it because you're cheap.
Exactly. Exactly.
She's doing it because she has body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Look what I did. Fit check. I do it a fit check right now. This shirt's 15 years old.
Shocker. It fits. It was blousy then.
It still fits. It was blousy then. It's blousy now. I don't get rid of blousy clothing because I never trust myself to not go back.
Well, here's a fun little factoid. We've talked about many times on this program how fashion is cyclical. None of us in this room is quote unquote fashionable. We'll never be hip. We don't have the right clothes.
But it goes round.
But like people who follow that sort of thing say say that it is cyclical. For instance, when I first met Chris Kelly, you had a giant rugby striped shirt, golden blue or navy.
Right. That's right.
And it fell out of fashion, tumbled, and then came back.
Yeah, that's
5 years ago,
that's
10
right.
years, whatever it was.
Correct.
Well, I was talking with my buddy West Coast Bob, and he's passing through town today, and he's going to go see his daughter. And I said, let me get her a radio station T-shirt. And I said, what size is she? And he said, well, she wears them big now. Big is in.
Oh, big is in.
Oversized is in.
Because it was,
which I never do, because she's in her late 20s, I think.
Big is in.
Yeah, oversized.
You do see, I do see a lot of people in like a baggier jeans.
Jeans are baggy.
Shirt. Yeah.
Jeans are very baggy now.
Really?
Yeah, on the fashionable people.
That's good.
Good for you.
That's good for me.
You've got a moment.
I'm baggy right now. I've been baggy.
You always baggy.
I'm always baggy. So when they went skinny and pencil thin, I thought, I'm out. It comes and it goes. I noticed my daughter is now got a pair of jeans that are real baggy. And I mean, she's very into fashion.
Yeah, big bottoms at the bottom, sometimes obscuring the shoe.
Yeah. Whereas, 2 years ago, it's pencil thin down to the ankle. I see that look all the time. I don't concern myself too much with it. In fact, this dawned on me as well as I was watching television. Fashion, why even do it? It's like, really, like when shirts were first made, I'm sure it was thought, this will protect our skin from the elements. That's all it is. But then they take it and it has to look different ways. Pants, same way. It protects, all it does is protect us.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to be in fashion. We made it that way through the years, of course.
Of course. Everything has subtext. What you drive, where you work, where you live.
Absolutely.
When the caveman first covered his genitals, he wasn't thinking, oh, I've got to look hip and trendy. He was thinking, I need to cover my genitals. So
that's Mastodon. What you got?
Yeah, that's right.
I see you're still wearing last year's yak.
Oh, what is that, mammoth?
Exactly. And I thought to myself, what if we had never...
Check it out. Saber-toothed tiger, bitch. Yeah.
If we never progressed
My man parts are protected. Saber-toothed tiger.
Things would be better had we never progressed past that point. It's
all
just
right. Don't be that dumb.
All we need to do is cover ourselves.
That is not a hot take.
To me, that's 100% hot take. And then no one would be judged for what they wear. No one would be judged.
What is fashion?
Okay, what people drive, cars, It fits you. It fits your family. It gets you from one place to the other safely and effectively. That's all you need. It doesn't have to be this
flashy
type
sporty.
Of sporty.
That's I've noticed through my life, everyone has a different mindset on cars. Yours is very much. I mean, you two especially, Chris Demm, Chris Kelly. You're very different on cars.
Oh yeah,
very.
Chris Demm likes a stylish look.
He
trades in his cars every few years.
Yeah.
And you use your car, Chris Kelly, as truly a utility vehicle.
Absolutely.
From one place to the other.
I want it to get me safely from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And do it efficiently, and that's about it.
And it mostly does.
95% of the time I've done. Now, right now,
parts of them are always breaking down.
Listen, I'm without air conditioning. It's getting warm. Okay.
Something to look forward to in May.
Here comes your new challenge / bragging point.
That's right.
Yesterday, I met a former Miss USA. She hugged me, and the back of my back was just covered in sweat.
No.
Because,
flop sweat?
Flop sweat, because I'd been sitting in that seat, and it was 85
in your car seat?
The car seat.
Well, you were just coming in.
Yes. I just come from the gym, and I showered and continued to sweat. Then I got in the hot car that I have no air conditioning, and she gave me a hug and said, I need to leave right now. Where's my representation?
I need a wipe.
It was bad.
Also, it appears somebody's parked a sketchy van outside. I don't want to walk next to it alone.
Is there a bomb squad nearby?
My take is cars, clothes, they should never have advanced past it's covering my genitals.
And really, who was the first caveman to do that? Gosh, I'm tired of my balls being cold. Hey, hand me some of that skin over there, that saber skin. I just want to try something.
They're stuck to this stump again.